So today we're going to be looking at 5 players the Indiana Fever could end up drafting in the WNBA draft.
The Indiana Fever face a crucial decision with the 8th pick in the 2025 draft, choosing from 5 players who could make or break their future. After underperforming last season, despite making the playoffs for the first time in 6 years, the Fever aim to build a championship contending team. With the addition of savvy leader Kelly Kov, they're focusing on smart moves to strengthen their roster and secure long-term success.
You know, I'm a lifelong learner. I love the game. I mean, this is in my DNA. You know, everything about running a team, you know, running a basketball program, if you will. It's really who I am. It's my passion. And I think being able to leverage that experience, being embedded with Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan in those daily meetings and talking about building the roster, it's very similar to what I did really for 18 years.
They also brought in a new coach, Stephanie White, who is truly exceptional. An outstanding former player, White is focused on building a team around Caitlin Clark, something the previous coach, Christy Sides, unfortunately failed to do.
The margin for error is small. When you're building teams, it's not about always just getting the best players. It's about getting the best complement of players who fit well together, who play well with one another, who work to bring the best out in one another. You know, I believe truly in my heart that connected teams are winning teams. And so people who fit, players who fit the culture of the Indiana Fever and where we are and where we're moving towards.
The 2025 season is set, but all eyes are on draft day, April 15th, 2024. The Indiana Fever's future could change with the 8th pick, depending on one key factor. Kelsey Mitchell stays and Nelisa Smith leaves. Losing Mitchell would be a huge blow and create major challenges for the team.
Yeah, if they lose Kelsey Mitchell, the Fever are screwed. They're genuinely screwed.
It's like removing the engine from a race car. This draft pick is make or break. Picture Fudd stepping onto the court, with everyone holding their breath. Once the talk of college basketball, her journey from high school to UConn has been full of surprises.
I don't see her, if she goes in this draft, really going in the first round.
Exactly. She's the biggest question mark in this draft, but if she stays healthy, she could be a brilliant pick. You're probably wondering what happened. Let's break it down.
Like, AZ Fudd has played in 23 games in 2 years. She has played in 48 games. 48 games in college, and she's a senior.
In the last 2 years, Fudd has played just 23 games. When she has been on the court, it hasn't been pretty. Her once unstoppable shooting is now a different story.
Since her freshman season, you're looking 34% from 3 through 15 games.
Her performance has plummeted from 34% in her freshman year to a dismal 28% recently. This isn't just a dip, it's a sharp decline. What's even more surprising is that Fudd hasn't seen any improvement in her points per game since her freshman year.
But she's only averaging 8.3 points. She only played 2 games last year.
Yeah, 8.3. That's her average. And it feels like she's been stuck while others progress. The Fever don't have the luxury of waiting. They need someone who can contribute now. If they pick Fudd, they're taking a big gamble on a player who's missed more games than she's played. Risky for a team trying to build momentum.
She has played in 48 games. 48 games in college, and she's a senior.
That's no exaggeration. Fudd has only played 48 games in her entire college career. That's not just uncommon. It's a glaring red flag that casts doubt on her durability. But here's the kicker.
Based on how good they were in high school, they'll get a lot of like extra coverage, especially if you were a UConn player.
Some experts believe Fudd still has the talent that made her a top high school player, if she can stay healthy, and that's a big if. She might be able to bounce back. But is that enough for the Fever to gamble on her potential?
A lot of people, because she was this highly ranked high school player, and we're seeing it with Paige Beckers, who's still the without question guaranteed #1 overall pick, and despite the fact she's not having the greatest year in the world in college.
So, what do you think? Is Fudd worth the gamble, or is she too risky for a team that needs a sure thing? Before deciding, let's check out the other options. Imagine a 6'3" sharpshooter who excels on defense. Sounds perfect, right? But what if this player won't hit the court for years?
Sivka is somebody that isn't going to be in, she can't play in the WNBA next season as a prioritization rules.
Aisha Sta is that player. She's got it all. A deadly shooter, a strong shot blocker, and exactly the type of defender the Indiana Fever desperately need.
You've got Aisha Sivka, who is a 6'4", 6'3" sniper who can play a bit of defense.
At 6'4", she's taller than most guards but moves like one. Her shooting and defense are elite, the kind that scouts dream of. She's a player you build a team around. But here's the catch.
Isn't probably ready to play in the WNBA right away, but she's 19. She turned 19 years old a couple of weeks ago.
Siva is 19 and won't be eligible for the WNBA until 2026, meaning the Fever would have to wait 3 years before she can play. Can you imagine waiting that long? But what if she's the next big thing?
She's that level of player. I just think that you can get a top 3 level talent at 8 if you're willing to just wait on her a little bit, and a perfect complementary player to Caitlin Clark.
Pairing Sivko with Caitlin Clark could be a dream for the Fever, but they need help now. Waiting 3 years for Sivko to develop is like planting an apple tree when you're hungry. Great in the future, but not helpful today. Drafting Sivko is a gamble.
It's just whether or not Indiana are willing to wait until, like, she's not going to come over next year. 2, I'm not even sure she's going to be ready in 2026.
It's like planting a seed. It might grow into something great, but can the Fever afford to wait? They need wins now, not future promises.
And she's that level of player. I just think that you can get a top 3 level talent at 8 if you're willing to just wait on her a little bit, and a perfect complementary player to Caitlin Clark. But the problem is you have to wait.
As we consider Sivko, the question is potential enough when the Fever need wins now? Can they risk waiting years for a player to develop? Enter Sonia Citron, climbing the draft boards. Her game could be the perfect fix for Indiana's struggles, offering stability where it's needed most.
Yeah, like Sonia Citron is doing okay for Notre Dame. She's averaging 14, 5, 2.4 assists.
That's right. She's averaging 14.5 points and 2.4 assists per game. Not bad, right? But here's where it gets really interesting.
Her shooting is kind of coming back. Like, she was shooting 25% from 3 for a while. Now she's back up to 36%. And in fairness, like, when it comes to her 3-point shooting, she has had a couple of, like, she's got her 3-point shot up a lot in game.
Her 3-point shooting has jumped from 25% to 36% this season, an improvement that definitely grabs coaches' attention. Now, you might be thinking, is she really Caitlin Clark? Let's break it down. Solid defense? Check. Improved shooting? Double check. Versatility on the court? Triple check.
She's a good off-ball defender. She makes it hard to get the ball if she's guarding you.
Citron is an off-ball defender who makes opponents feel like they're locked in handcuffs. She's even drawing comparisons to established stars, with some saying she might be even better.
I think I've said it from the start, I think she might just be a better Lexi Hull.
Some experts are calling Citron a better Lexi Hull, which isn't just a compliment, it's a prediction. She could be the steady player the Fever need, especially if Kelsey Mitchell leaves. While not flashy, her consistency could be exactly what Indiana needs. Now, Jania Barker is turning heads with her size and athleticism at 6'4". But here's the catch.
But she's shooting 18% from 3 on the year. She's shot in the 30s in other seasons of her college career, but she's still shooting 18% on the year. But again, 10 points, 8 boards in 20 minutes is good. It is good. And she's shooting a very good percentage from inside the 3-point line.